Somewhere between 15,000 and 18,000 new species are identified each year. So many that it's really hard to keep up with them all. Scientists have so far identified 2 million species of plants, animals, and microbes. But there is so much more left to discover, with insects being a huge part of that discovery. From ants using kamikaze techniques to keep the colony safe, to a spider that uses itself as a slingshot to catch its prey. Check out these 10 recently discovered insects. Madagascar's pelican spider. Thought to have gone extinct until 18 new species were rediscovered in 2018. The Madagascar pelican spider is one of the most bizarre-looking spiders on the planet. In fact, it doesn't really resemble a spider at all. At a mere 5 millimeters long, these tiny spiders behave just as odd as they look. Because the most interesting thing is that they don't do what other spiders do. They don't build webs, dig tunnels, or set tripwires waiting for an unsuspecting insect to come along. Instead, they follow the faint trails of silk that other spiders leave behind as they go stalking their fellow arachnids until they get a chance to pounce. They then use their long fangs as poisonous skewers, impaling their prey. And if that's not weird enough, their heads are stretched into a tubular structure that gives the appearance of a separate head and neck. However, the spider's mouths are actually below the neck, and the head-like bulb is loaded with muscles to power their highly maneuverable jaws, which they use to impale their prey. Hitchhiking beetle. You might think that riding ants is a mode of transportation reserved for animated kids' movies and a certain wisecracking Avenger. But apparently a newly discovered beetle in Costa Rica heard about how strong ants are and decided to hitch a ride. First found by scientists in 2017, a group of biologists almost didn't notice this well-disguised beetle clamped onto the abdomen of an army ant. It's so well disguised that detecting this insect is nearly impossible with the naked eye, and the researchers only noticed them because of a strange difference in the reflection of the abdomen of some of the ants they were collecting at night. An up-close inspection of the captured ants that are slightly different colors, literally. To be more specific, the beetles use their jaws to bite down and latch onto the ants, turning these dedicated workers into a quick mode of transportation from one side of the forest to the other. See-through shrimp. The see-through shrimp looks like something straight out of a horror movie, but it's not actually a shrimp. But it's not an alien either. These strikingly disturbing-looking crustaceans were discovered by a team from the University of Seville in Spain and are actually members of the amphipod family. They live in the deep dark of several caves off the coast of Catalina and appear to have at least a few adaptations in common with deep-sea creatures. They have small eyes, completely see-through bodies, and display sexual dimorphism. That is to say, the two sexes are easily distinguishable by sight. Males are much larger with bigger claws than females. Despite their somewhat frightening appearance, the translucent bodies serve the very important purpose of helping disguise them in the water. And the trick has been so successful that we've only just found out about them in 2013. Fairy-like moth. It's not often that a moth is a mystery, but the aptly named Enigma moth is practically a Rubik's Cube level puzzle. Described as a living fossil, this sparkling insect is part of an ancient group of moths with ties back to the days of the dinosaurs. In fact, these odd little creatures are so prehistoric with their iridescent gold and purple scales and feather-like tasseled wings that their discovery in 2015 has provided scientists a unique window into the evolutionary path of moths and, quite possibly, insects as a whole. What makes the survival of this species especially remarkable is the fact that their entire adult life is only 1 day long. So if you thought finding a date was hard, imagine having to do it all under 24 hours. Yet somehow this tiny, fluffy bag has managed to not just survive, but to thrive undetected for millennia. Living branch. The stick, the sword, a post. If this living branch ever took on a role in some sort of stage play, it would probably be regulated to serving as one of these less than dignified props. But that's okay, because this bug doesn't want any attention. At more than a foot long and considered the second largest stick insect ever to be found in the world, this species makes itself at home in the jungles of Vietnam. It was discovered just in the year 2014 and managed to stay hidden for so long despite its size because its stick-like form matches so perfectly to its environment that it's nearly impossible to spot if you're just walking through the forest. This seemingly odd adaptation has allowed it and similar insects to survive in relative safety, often disguising themselves as a very peculiar kind of tree depending on the species. Fearless ant. It's well known that ants are almost robotically loyal to their home colonies, but one fearless ant species, discovered in Madagascar back in 2014, take their dedication to family to whole new heights. When worker and fighter ants at the entrance of the nest sense the presence of an intruder, they exhibit what is considered a rather strange and extreme insect behavior. Instead of swarming the foreign body as regular ants would, these oddball insects grab onto the offending creature with their huge jaws and hurl themselves off the high ledges through which they tunnel their homes. Often, this brash move is all it takes to toss potential threats to the side, and then the ants can just get up, march up the hill, and go back to work as if nothing's happened. It's certainly odd, but an effective strategy to defend the colony, and it's earned them many thousands of years of survival as a species. Vicious wasp. A lot of people like bees, and it's not exactly hard to see why. They're fluffy, they pollinate our food, and they basically keep the entirety of our ecosystem in balance. Without bees, 30% of crops and 90% of wild plants simply wouldn't exist. Wasps, however, aren't always so helpful. Sometimes they're downright scary, and the perfectly named bonehouse wasp is definitely terrifying. First spotted in 2014 by German researchers working in China, this deadly insect doesn't just pack a reusable sting, it's brilliantly demented. Females of this species have a uniquely horrifying way of providing for their young. When a bonehouse wasp is ready to lay her eggs, she constructs a nest made up of many solid-walled cells, catches and kills a spider for each cell, depositing a single egg into the body of each arachnid. She then covers and seals each cell with the bodies of dead ants to disguise the smell of her soon-to-be offspring with the chemicals of the rotting ant corpses. Triangle weaver spider. This interesting spider was recently discovered and has a remarkable ability that other spiders don't possess. The triangle weaver, Hyptiotes cavatus, builds a web to catch its prey like any other spider. However, when their prey hit the web, something near logic-defying happens. Sitting in one corner, the spider seems to suddenly teleport in the blink of an eye closer to its prey. Then another, and then another, until the web eventually collapses on the insect. It might seem like this spider has the ability to teleport, but it's actually pulling off something you'd never think possible. With its front legs, it tugs a thread within the larger structure of the web, building up tension, while at the same time using its back legs to hold another anchor thread, leaving a lot of slack. The extra thread coils up near the spider's spinneret, and when the spider releases the coiled anchor line, the arachnid rockets forward with incredible speed, which researchers measured at an astonishing 0.4 miles per second, 773 meters per second, which equates to a dizzying 79 G. To give you an example of how incredible that is, fighter pilots pass out at just 9 G. Cave-dwelling beetle, Zeudites belus. At less than half an inch long, the recently discovered Zeudites belus doesn't exactly strike an intimidating figure. In fact, this beetle is so weird it seems like it defies common sense. But it just might be the most cave-dwelling adapted beetle in existence. When a group of scientists working in the Duong Guangxi province in China first shined their lights on this odd-looking little insect, they noted that it had no eyes, little pigmentation, and an extremely long head. Actually, it was long all over, with sections of its legs being much longer than a previously known species. This super stretched out body, along with the natural climbing ability most beetles share, has allowed these cave-dwelling beetles to squeeze into crevices that remain inaccessible to their more regularly shaped cousins. And that proficiency with caves has allowed it to evade detection until recently in 2018. Flatty spiders. While the other numbers on our list are more about a single newly discovered species, in the case of the flatty spiders, a study in 2018 resulted in the discovery of 3 new varieties of this agile arachnid family. Ignoring the creepy, flattened appearance, Perhaps the coolest thing about these spiders is the fact that they're the fastest turners on the planet. With turning speeds of up to 3,000 degrees per second, Flatty spiders put even the most seasoned of Olympic skaters to shame. Slow-motion video evidence of Flatties snatching up crickets showed that the spiders used the leg closest to their prey to anchor themselves, while the opposite legs pushed the spider into a turn that took them a mere eighth of a second to complete. This quick spin is an evolutionary adaptation that has allowed Flatties to survive right alongside other more regularly shaped spider species. We hope you enjoyed this video. Tell us which one of these creatures you thought was the coolest. And if you liked the video, then click subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new video arrives. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.